The Spanish announce table.
I can't believe another week of wrestling has come and gone, and we're here to talk to all of our wrestling friends, and we've made a whole lot of new wrestling friends this week. I'm excited to talk to them, but Tom, I'm excited to talk to you as well. What's new, Tom?
Hey man, not too much. Just really enjoying the week of wrestling. Got a lot to talk about. There was some big arrivals in certain companies. There's also some great matches in others. And then, as you mentioned, we kind of jump-started our newest social media platform, app, whatever you want to call it, and we're on Threads. So not to really say something that we don't already know, but it looks like Twitter is going in the toilet. But it's not there yet. So we still are there hanging out, talking to you. But we are transitioning.
It hasn't been flushed yet. It's in the toilet. It hasn't been flushed yet. Not everything there is a cesspool. I'm going to give it that. But we are on Threads at Spanish Announce Podcast.
Yes. So we are transitioning to Threads, talking to you there, slowly building up a following and interacting with you live during AEW Dynamite, Collision, Rampage, pay-per-views. Still doing it on the Twitter. But if I'm being honest, since I do that the most, my first priority is going to be Threads, and then I'll get to Twitter. So yeah, that's been the exciting thing, meeting a lot of different people, new people who are brand new to hearing about us, which is fun. And yeah, talking to them.
Yeah.
So that's been fun.
It's always fun hearing about us.
It's always fun to learn about other people. For you. Yeah. Well, I mean, I love me some me. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
I always love me some me.
All about the me. We have the me. So, Tom, we're going to talk about pro wrestling. We are, as you might be able to figure out by some of our imagery, primarily and almost exclusively, we're going to discuss AEW, right? There is a big topic that is not AEW, but AEW related, of course, and that is CM Punk. We will talk about that because how can you not, right?
CM he's Punk a former AEW champion.
Anywhere.
He's a former AEW champion, so we kind of have to talk about former AEW champions who go to different promotions. So,
yeah,
right.
I mean, that's the thing. CM Punk makes it that you gotta talk about him. So we will talk about him. We've got some things to say about him. But man, I am excited about this Threads. We have met so many people. There's so much positivity going on over there. And it's not all, I'm not going to say it's like this, hey, everybody let's blow smoke up each other's ass, yuck fest, right? Like we're not all holding hands saying kumbaya, but it is noticeably more positive and just more open, honest dialogue than Twitter. Twitter is so nasty anymore.
And guess what? I'll tell you a little fun fact. I'm actually positive over there on Threads. You know, typically I get a little crazy. So far, loving it. I haven't been an asshole yet. It's been great.
We should do a thing where
how long?
You watch something, you thread about it with your positive thoughts, and then you tweet about it with your angry T-Mac thoughts, and then we compare them here on the show. Yeah. That would be good stuff.
Yeah. Actually, there was one person on Threads that did act like an idiot. I had to tell him they had the dumbest post, and then we never heard from him again. I didn't block him though. I didn't mute him. They just stopped talking because I was like, you're obviously dumb. They're trying to educate me on the Spanish announce table, and like, that's a WWE only thing. And I was like, that's only a WWE thing? Really? That's why Thunder Rosa is over on the Spanish announce table in AEW calling the action in Spanish. Fucking idiot. But other than that person, man, it's been great.
It has been great. And the reason I bring it up again, because you already hit it, but it is at Spanish Announce Podcast. Follow us there. Go to SpanishAnnounceTable.net for all the other social media links. Fun note, I don't have Threads posted up there yet. Forgot to do that. But all the other social media links are up there, including the links to our T-shirt. Oh, do I have the Threads?
You do.
Am I good? Am I ahead of myself? Was I ahead of the game back in the day? Anyway, go there. You can also donate to say, look how good you are, Tim. You don't even know how good you are. You can donate money 2 ways, Cash App or PayPal, or you can buy our T-shirt where the link says buy our T-shirt, and that'll take you to Pro Wrestling Tees, trusted source. You don't even have to take our word for it. You just buy our shirt and know it's going to get to your door because it's a crapshoot if you're waiting on us to send you a shirt, right? So, Tom, let's talk about Threads, because one way that you can communicate with us, you, the listeners, or the viewers or whatever, is to use things like social media. And we used to primarily have this thing called hashtag tweet the table over on Twitter, where people would send us their thoughts about wrestling and we would read them right here on the show. And we have one of those. But without even thinking about it, one of our loyal Spanish Announce Table Nation members here gave us a new segment, Tom, with Thread the Table, right? So hashtag Thread the Table. And we'll read it right here on the show. And it's from great friend of the show, Justin Floor. He says, which superstar would you travel to see their last match? Hashtag Thread the Table. And that's it. That's how easy it is, right? So, Tom, we all know Sting's final match is coming up. And as we talk about AEW Dynamite later in the show, they even announced time and a place, right? So we'll talk about that. But if it's not Sting, and maybe it is Sting, who would it be?
You want to go first or you want me to go first?
Yeah, why don't you go first?
I would say, here's the caveat. Let's say that this is a true pro wrestling retirement, because in pro wrestling, just like with mixed martial arts retirements, it's always taken with a grain of salt, right? They're retired until the next paycheck. But let's say that this is going to be in this question. The world is, it will actually be their final match. Now, I'm also going to add one more thing to it too. I'm going to say that I'm not going to go back in time to a wrestler who I wanted to see their last match. We're going to say that their last match is still something that could happen today, right? You get what I'm saying? Like there may be a wrestler who has passed. Like say I was saying Owen Hart, right? Well, we're going to assume he's alive and I can actually go to his last match. That's the example I'm using. So with all of that being said, someone that I would travel to very far links to see would have to be Stone Cold Steve Austin. I think the music would get me into the energy level that I would need for like a final match. It would have a different type of vibe, that it wouldn't be somber because of that glass shattering, the walking, the spitting, the talking trash and all of that. And then post-match, whether he wins or loses, you know that there is going to be a beer bash that ends all beer bashes, and it will have just countless number of hitting that right at the corner, double fisting Miller Lights or Stone Cold IPAs, whatever it may be. And I think it would just be one of the most fun times you could have at a pro wrestling show. And obviously he's one of the greatest of all time.
He is one of the greatest of all times from, I think when you look at the overall package of storytelling in pro wrestling, right? And that's it. I think storytelling is a key part of that, right? Because we've said this before. We say moves don't matter, right? Like we're not here for the matches necessarily. We like the storylines that lead to the matches, and of course the matches as well, right? Like, but we're way more invested in those matches that the storylines get us there. So, man, that's why I struggle with answering this question, right? Because I never really am gauging. It's always lower on the totem pole if I'm stacking points, right? I weigh the mic skills and the charisma heavier, right? Than the matches, right? Right now, if it was right now, if they were like, hey, this is their last match right now, I'm going to say Christian Cage, because I know I'm going to get that God, I love what he said, but I'm still going to boo this guy, right? But he's one of the people who gives you the most feeling right now, right? So that's how I would answer that right now. I don't feel like I've got an all-time favorite, right? But if you told me right now somebody was like, I'm going to cancel and I'm going to be like, I'm going to go see this, right? Especially if it's, look, I'm not going to go to England when I live in Kansas City, right? But
that's what I was going to ask.
Was that the question?
No. But that's what I would ask you is how far would you go? How far would you go to see your favorite wrestler's last match?
I mean, I'm thinking anywhere continental is easy to say, right? Like anywhere continental United States, because that's a flight, right? That's not, we're ballers, as we've discussed on the show before, right? Please donate money. My t-shirt. Continental easy, Hawaii, Alaska easy, maybe all those Puerto Ricos easy. Man, you start getting further than Western Europe. It's a long flight. You know what I mean? And I don't know that I want to go much further than that, right?
Well, trust me, I just came from Germany. I just went to Frankfurt, so I definitely know how long
I
a
know
long flight
I
is.
know
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, man, you're talking more than a work day's worth of hours, and I'm starting to get a little testy, right? I got to get up, move around, even if it is Supreme Business First upgraded top pilot level.
I would
class.
say, yeah,
'Cause we're
I would
dogs.
say the British Isles, right? So Scotland, Ireland, England, Wales, like that.
Correct, right? Yeah.
Any farther inland, that's where my
Coast
cutoff is.
Spain, right? Maybe
Yeah,
like
you know,
Portugal,
yeah.
maybe. Right?
Yeah.
Right.
There you go. That's what I would do. Yeah. So Stone Cold Steve Austin, and we'll say Belfast.
Mexico City, Mexico City,
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I'd go
South
Mexico City.
America. I feel like I'd
Yeah,
go
yeah.
South America. Depends on where, right? If you're like, depends on
Well,
where. But
And then that's the other thing to consider too is, there's also some wrestlers where if it's the city and the experience, that might make you go. For example, let's just say it was Penta, right? Penta's last match, but it's in Mexico City. Well, you might get me. You know what I mean? Because that's the whole Lucha Libre. He's my favorite Lucha Libre. Like Rey Mysterio, right? Rey Mysterio in Mexico City. You might get me. You know what I mean?
I tried so hard, Tom, when I was in Mexico while we were down there for a couple days. I think it was like four days. I was asking everywhere. I was like, all right, where's the Lucha Libre? Right? And they were like, what? And I'm like, Lucha Libre. And I'm like, they're selling the mask everywhere. God damn it. Right? Like the mask, there are 5 million masks everywhere you can see. And I'm like, Lucha, where's the matches? Where can I go tonight? Like, where can I see it? Right? And they're all like, and I'm like, God damn it. Like, come on. I know I'm white, but like, come on. Like, help me out, man. I'm trying to see some Lucha here. God damn it. Never got anybody to clue me in, man. Nothing. No help.
Maybe next time.
Maybe next time. So that's how easy it is to thread the table. You can start a conversation. And if you're watching us live right now because you're awesome, you can join in on the YouTube chat, right? YouTube.com/Spanish Announce Tube. You can watch us live every Thursday night when we do the show at precisely, exactly on the dot, 7:15-ish. Tom, nobody's chatted us yet, so I'm a little disappointed. I'm sad, but we'll just
That's
move
okay.
on, right? We'll talk about Tweet the Table because this is going to get the ball rolling. Remember how we said Twitter brings about negativity? And it's not even when it's intended, because this tweet is not have any malice, no negativity, and this person never does. It's one of the sweetest people we've ever had on this show. It's Katie, the First Lady, one of our most loyal long-term listeners. And she says, did WWE just pull an AEW? Hashtag tweet the table. Hashtag CM Punk. Hashtag Survivor Series. And yeah, you sent me this thing because I don't really watch WWE anymore. Again, we've talked about this several times on the reasons why. But mostly, I just think it sucks. So I don't watch it. And I knew Survivor Series was going on, right? But I hadn't seen anything yet. I hadn't been on social media. And you sent me a picture of CM Punk on a WWE, like on the screen. And I was just like, is that for real? Like, that's a thing? Like, that really, they did that? I really didn't think they were going to do that. So that one threw me for a loop. I'll give them that. I really didn't think they were going to do it.
Well, I definitely did because, look, we have a lot of reasons why we're not watching WWE, right? I had a post that I posted on our social media and then also on my personal social media of why I don't like the WWE. Case in point being Vince McMahon being a sexual predator and the executive teams around him being complicit. And that includes Triple H. You can't tell me otherwise. You can't tell me that a son-in-law who's also on the executive board of WWE doesn't know about the hush payments to women that Vince McMahon allegedly sexually assaulted or raped. Just going to say that right off the jump, right? And for Ariel Helwani and those people who love to call Tony Khan the snowman, I, again, will take a cokehead over a sexual predator 12 times out of 10. So that's all why I don't watch, right? With that being said, though, WWE, in my opinion, is a money chase.
I feel like I feel like I can't let it go. Vince McMahon is probably also a cokehead, but
well, yeah, I mean, right,
on.
yeah, whatever, right? Maybe, yeah, probably, but
so he's both. He's a cokehead and a sexual predator. That's worse.
But if he, right, but like, even if he is, I don't that part of it. I don't care. Like, do drugs. Drugs are fine in my book as long as you're being responsible.
It's your next Spanish Announce Table T-shirt. Do drugs. Drugs are fine.
Drugs are cool. It just, you got to
Especially
be
the drugs
responsible
Tom
about
gets. They are fine.
Love them. Love it. But with all that being said, I believe that WWE doesn't care about pro wrestling. I think WWE cares about money. And now, obviously, we're in a capitalist society. We all care about money. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is they will go to any length to make the dollar. Also, on the other side, I believe CM Punk likes his way of living and looked at the landscape of his choices and said to himself, if I want to keep my way of living, I need to tuck my tail between my legs and go back to WWE. So it's a match made in shit. So of course it would happen. Like the idea that it happened isn't shocking.
It's not shocking, but I'm surprised they did it just because of the liability. Like he's such a, but I guess it pays for himself.
Well, yeah, and yeah, it pays for himself. And then if something were to happen, they could just be like, well, look, we tried as well, and he's just too much, right? Like it's a win-win.
You're right. Them. He's a son of a bitch. And we're all
exactly.
Like,
hey. We knew it the first time, but we're a company of second chances, and he burned through that one as well, right? They're in a win-win. The only
they look golden.
Has,
yep.
Yeah. The only person who really has something to lose, honestly, is CM Punk. And I think, we'll talk about maybe his promo on Monday Night Raw. I think he did lose. And, I shared with you an article on Substack written by a gentleman named Chad Dundas, who is a fantastic writer, also a great podcaster, co-main event podcast. Yeah. He lays out why it was bad. And it's not from a moralistic standpoint, right? It's not from how I was talking about why I don't watch WWE. It was literally from like the character standpoint of why it failed. Fantastic article. We posted it on our social media. Check it out there. But yeah, I think everything was a dud. Everything
was a dud, man. And I've said a million times on here, and people know my feelings about, the CM Punk, Phil Brooks, which, there's a gray area there, right? We don't know when we're getting who there. I don't know how people haven't seen exactly what happened on Raw. And you know what? I didn't even see it, but I've heard enough people say what he said now, and what Chad Dundas, that's the name, right, said is 100% spot on. And just that, like, it is exactly everything opposite of the character and the story they've ever told about CM Punk and the story that CM Punk has ever told elsewhere. It was a complete what the fuck moment and just feels weird, right? Just feels weird. And I almost kind of hope they wrote it and told him, you got to fucking say it. That's what I hope happens, right? Like, because that's what it kind of felt like. It was like, how did he fucking say, like, yeah, okay, I'm going to go out and say that?
Yeah, it feels to me that it's one of those things where, so I haven't liked the CM Punk character. Now, let's take, let me do a quick timeout. I'm separating now, going forward, the man Phil Brooks and the character CM Punk. So when I say CM Punk, I'm talking about CM Punk. I'm not talking about the man Phil Brooks. So with that being said, I haven't liked CM Punk since he came back to Collision and was booking himself, or Tony was booking him, as Hulk Hogan 1984, CM Punk must pose at the end. And that was just a caricature of what CM Punk never was, right? CM Punk was always fight the system in the WWE. And then when he came to AEW, it was, here's my chance to then become and help all of these people that I've always said I was wanting to do. But in turn, what he really did, even though he did work with young talent like Darby Allin and at the end, Ricky Starks, was CM Punk must pose. And that's just not entertaining to me. And when he came over to WWE, it felt like the exact same thing. I'm the best. Remember me? Hey. And it's like, that's not entertaining. Like, that's not, I don't care for that person. You know what I mean? So I'm not interested from a character standpoint. Let's, separate the man himself. The character from Jump in WWE since his return was lame. There was no mission statement. There was no identity. There was no structure. There was no framework. Why am I tuning in next week? He gave me no reason to tune in.
No reason.
To next week's show.
So I've said this before too, right? And some of these names I'm about to say are old, and so maybe I don't mean exactly these names, right? But like I said, WWE is starting to kind of become pro wrestling with the stars in some ways, right? And like, let's bring back Cena, let's bring in a Batista Reigns, let's get Logan Paul in here, the Bad Bunny, and I'm like, at least do that then, man. If you're gonna give me the lame stuff, at least give me some of the people who are like good at what they, you know what I mean, like the acting, the whatever. At least let's try some of that. So like, I'm not to discredit that. Like, if a name like CM Punk and a person who could tell some stories were to go there, then it might do well for their product, right? But if I think it's back to similar to what he was railing this first time. If he's got to say what they want him to say, it's not gonna be good. Right? That's the problem with them over there. What they write isn't good. One storyline has been good in a while, and it's has its issues, you know? So, like, I don't know what this is going to be, and it makes me in no way want to watch it. So it's fine for me. I'm like, great, fine. I don't like watching him. I don't like watching them. Totally cool. Fine, whatever, right? And you know what? To his credit, he didn't come out dunking on AEW, because, you know, you shouldn't. You got fired, but that's not to stop a guy like him, right? So, I don't know. I never thought he was good. The only time I ever thought he felt genuine was when he was being a whiny bitch. So I never got why people like that, because I'm like, it's just being a whiny bitch. And I don't get it. Jeffrey Sills in the chat here, right? He said, what up, turds? Your boy's in the building. Sorry for the late join. I had to put the children to bed because it's Spanish announce table time. Saw that nothing burger of a promo. Definitely not the same feeling when he made the first dance. And then he said he never liked Punk because he was a hypocrite then, and he's still a hypocrite. And that's it. That promo is a hypocrite. And that's kind of what Chad Dundas gets at, not to like spoil the article, right? But like, it's that I'm home. The fuck you are. You never felt at home there. And the whole time you were gone, you shit talked him, especially when you went to AEW, you shit talked them. You even said to MJF that you were like, well, you're going to go over there and go have fun. I'll still be here. And now you're over there saying I'm home. You're telling people to go choke on a blood money covered dick, right? Like what? Dude, I'm home is really, he was an annoying, aggressive asshole before, but now it's like, that feels pathetic, man. Like, that feels weird.
Yeah, I would agree. I would say when he was being, you know, obnoxious in AEW, you could make the argument of like, well, but his moral high ground or his philosophy on life is at least genuine, right? Like, you could say, hey, he's fighting for things that I agree with, but he's kind of doing it in an annoying fucking way, right? But now, like you said, he was saying, oh, go to Saudi Arabia. And it's like, well, now that's you. So like, are you going to address the things that you don't like about where you're at? And to your point, saying that you're home, you never said that. Now I get it, right? There is a story you could tell where you said, hey, I am finally home. I railed against this place, but then when I left, I realized it was everything I needed. But brother, you never said that, right? You always said WWE is the hellhole of pro wrestling.
Well, even in the promo itself, though, right? Even in the promo itself, notwithstanding the I'm home, I'm happy to be here is weird. He then says, I'm not here to make friends, I'm here to make money. Well, what are you? Like, right. I guess both of those could exist at the same time, I guess. I won't shit talk him too much there. But Jeffrey Sills in the chat here, and by the way, if you're watching live, join the chat, ask us some questions. Talk to us. Talk to each other. Fuck it. He says, is Punk going to finish the story before Cody? I don't think Punk ever gets his hands on a world title again. Will he challenge for it? Sure. But I don't think they're ever like, yeah, let's have him
I think
hoisting one of our title belts.
Oh, I think he will. I think he'll 100% be Seth Rollins. Yeah. I think he's beating Seth Rollins.
Oh, I forgot about Seth Rollins. Yeah.
Here, honestly, you know who I feel the worst for in the CM Punk return? And regardless of CM Punk. No. If let's just say CM Punk hit a home run and it was actually cool, right? I objectively like, hey man, I hate that I say it, but it's fucking cool. Let's just say that happened. It wasn't, but regardless, the person I feel the worst for is LA Knight. LA Knight
Mm.
dragged, clawed, scratched, yad his way to a main event picture,
Yeah.
which we all know they did not want. They slow rolled
Yep.
the fuck out of pushing LA Knight. And now they have the opportunity to say, well, hey, LA, we got that, but Punk is really drawn. Look, he sold the most shirts, and so we've got to put him in this spot. So if you want to work with like Dominic Mysterio on the opener, like that's great, but we just don't got any room for
It
you.
is-
Like that's who I think gets pushed.
It
to
is
the
one of the
bottom.
weirdest things to me that they do that still to this day. They do that to Bryan Danielson, Daniel Bryan. You know, they've done that. They tried to do that to Mick Foley forever.
Sami
Like, they
Zayn.
just- Sami
Sami Zayn is
Zayn.
another.
They keep doing
Sami Zayn, well, and he's
Yeah.
another one I do think. Now I think he is charismatic enough and stubborn. I think this is just me as an outside perspective. I think Sami Knight has been around long enough in WWE to push the right buttons to say, you ain't fucking putting me in the back seat, where LA Knight doesn't have that cachet or that political backing to where if he said it, he could then also stay in that spot. Sami Zayn, I do think will kind of get pushed a little bit to the side, but LA Knight, I mean, RIP, I think he's done in my book.
Jeffrey Sill says if they were smart, they would do the MJF thing with LA Knight and book a feud with Punk. I mean, that could be good stuff.
Yeah. Here's the thing though, and this is just my opinion. MJF CM Punk is, I said, one of my 5 favorite stories of all time. And I told you this, I think off air, I think maybe in a messenger or something like that. But the story was MJF. It was MJF and it happened to be CM Punk. That could have been Chris Jericho. That could have been Adam Cole. It was MJF's origin story of how he became who he is today.
Yeah. Oh, more on that later. We're going to talk about that too. Good.
Yeah.
Good. All right. Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, do you have any more CM Punk stuff?
No,
Or are you just
let's
done
keep it
with
going.
this guy?
Yeah, let's keep it going.
fucking
Let's keep
done
it
with
going.
This guy. All right. So that was hashtag Tweet the Table. We introduced hashtag Thread the Table. You can follow us on Twitter or Threads or all of the social medias. Use hashtag or use SpanishAnnounceTable.net, for all the links. Tom, another way that folks can get in touch with us is to drop us a voicemail. You can even drop us a video chat mail, right? If you want. Give it a couple minutes, right? Tops here. Like, let's not make this a thing. Drop it in to tableshow@gmail.com, right? And just, give us a topic. Give us a thought or a question, right? And somebody who does this religiously almost every single week is Ash Hendricks, and he dropped us another voicemail. And here it goes, Tom.
What up, boys? It's me again. I'm doing another one. Fuck it, why not? My apologies for the last clip because I felt like I took it a little too personally. Like I felt personally aggrieved in that last one, and that was quite embarrassing. So I do apologize for that one. At the end of the day, you know what I mean. Get your money. So I don't want to see this geezer on my screen no more. Personally, even though I am a fan. Because what's the negativity that surrounds him will just follow him and make everything crap. But get your money, go get the money. I barely watch that shit anyway, so I'm probably not going to pay much attention. So whatever. My question for the week is: pick 3 moments of wrestling history that you would erase, and why. Yeah, that's it. Also, why am I the only person that's doing these? Because we got a little of a tangent here, but obviously a lot of us that listen to this show listen to the Week in Review, and we're all doing weekly voice notes and all this nonsense. So why am I the only person here in the glorious Spanish Announce Table voicemail every week? Come on, what's wrong with you people? Everyone listening to you, Heavy, where you at? Sorry, Justin. Kiwi, where you at? Kato, where you at? 4th row, I see you there in the chat, boy. You guys better do some fucking clips next week, or I'm gonna come find you where you are and steal all your shoes. You know what I mean? Anyways, I'm gonna go drink a beer and enjoy the rest of my Thursday evening. I should probably watch Dynamite now. Actually, now I've got the time to do so. Anyways, bye, lads.
Yeah. Hey, lest your shoes be stolen, you should heed the warning of Ash Hendricks and drop us a voicemail. Like I said, if you want to do a video chat, do that too, man. I'm open. I'm willing to see what you look like. So, Tom, 3 moments you would erase from pro wrestling history. And I think I'm going to go first on this one because it's fucking CM Punk. I would take away the CM Punk AEW return, and as cool as that pop was, and even as great as that storyline was, MJF still gives us bangers. We don't need it in his career. I'm done with CM Punk, dude. Because then I don't feel like we have to talk about him then I feel like we don't have to talk about him now, and I'm just fucking done with it, right? So that would be my number one. CM Punk returns ever. I wish he just would have stayed gone.
Okay. All right. Well, then I'm gonna go. So we're gonna do this kind of ping pong.
Yeah, we'll ping pong it. Yeah.
So I'm gonna go all across the board. One's gonna be because of a story. The other two are kind of I just really hated it and thought it was stupid. First one I'm gonna go with though, fake Diesel and fake Razor Ramon. Remember that?
Yeah, that's good. That's good.
No one believed it. No one liked it. No one tried it again. You know what I mean? And it was just dead on arrival. And here's the worst part. They kept going with it. Jim Ross was pulling that. And it was like, dude, 2 weeks, I get it. But they did that for 6 months at least. That was so awful.
From what I'm to understand, that's because they were trying to assert in the lawsuit that like the characters were theirs and that they could put them on somebody else. So them mimicking Diesel and Razor Ramon over there as Kevin Nash and Scott Hall were stealing the characters. And their argument was, we're the characters, bro. And they're like, nuh-uh, the characters are ours. Look, we'll put them on somebody else. It was like, God damn it.
It was awful. No one liked it. No one enjoyed it. The people didn't like doing it.
I don't think WWE enjoyed it either. I think they're like, God damn it. You gotta hire these fucking... Well, I mean, they got Kane out of it, so I mean, yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, he did some other things after that too, but yeah, it was just awful. It's one of the worst things.
Jeffrey Sills is chiming in also. His number one is Brawl Out, kind of similar to along the lines that I
love that.
Here.
I love Brawl Out. Oh, wait a minute. I'm sorry. I was thinking Brawl for All. I was thinking the boxing one. Brawl Out. Yeah, that would. Yeah. Hey, we had a moment. We're sitting there at a stop sign in our chairs watching the video with some international fans. That was a moment in my life.
There's people from all over. Yeah, it was a great time. It will never be replicated.
Yeah, that was a great time for us. We love Brawl.
Yeah, he also said Lita and Edge. That's a good one. I hope we're not spoiling any of our own that are coming out here, but that was not on my list.
What do you mean Lita and Edge, like when they paired together or when they cheated on Matt Hardy?
I'm assuming that's what he means, but I kind of
because I love rated R Edge with Lita, and that was
live sex celebration, man. So my number 2 is the WCW invasion. It even has a greater whole, just McMahon buying WCW, right? But like the WCW invasion, even most particularly, was just fucking awful, right? I would rather they just wipe it away and have done nothing than gave us that.
Yeah,
it was so bad.
I mean,
I understand why and all the circumstances that happened, but it was bad.
Yeah, you got some good stuff. For example, you got RVD versus Jeff Hardy for the hardcore title. That was pretty cool. I did get one cool moment out of it. There was a SmackDown in Kansas City where Kurt Angle approached Taz, who was on commentary, and was like, you joining the other guys, and he took him out. And then at the end of the show, ECW invaded, and I got to see Sandman and the Dudleys, and then I got to see Taz with a fucking bloody ass head walking out, choking out Kurt Angle. It's one of my favorite shows I've ever been to. But yes, I agree with you. As a whole, you would rather see Goldberg and Sting and the NWO than DDP and Chuck Palumbo and those kind of guys, Lance Storm. So I agree. Yeah. I got you there. That's a good one. All right. My number 2 is another one that was just annoying. The anonymous GM. It served no purpose. It could have just been done without the fucking annoying computer. It went on way too long. And then it was a fucking wet fart. I think it ended up being Hornswoggle, right? Wasn't that the payoff? It was Hornswoggle. Just dog shit all around. Served no purpose. And just a waste of time. Michael Cole should not be talking that long in front of large audiences. So that also sucked. So yeah, anonymous GM, get the fuck out of here.
Before we move on, Jeffrey Todd says, it would have been funny if WWE brought back a fake CM Punk. Yeah, if they did like Bill Crooks or whatever. It's just. Jeffrey Sills, Taz never breaks his neck in my hometown at the War Memorial Theater.
Love Taz. Love Taz. Taz is the shit.
Taz.
One of my favorites.
All right, so my third one, this one I'm coming in hot too, Tom. Third one I would wipe off is Brock Lesnar ending the streak. I didn't like that. I thought that was just a whole story. They just kind of were like, we'll just give it to this guy who like already beat the shit out of everybody already. Like we knew he was an unstoppable monster. Like that was nothing new. You know what I mean? Like we already had Brock Lesnar established as that. It just felt weird. Like the moment was shocking. I'll give it that. But after that, it was just kind of like, why did we do that?
I like that moment. I do. Here's the reason why.
Yeah.
If you recall, yes, Brock Lesnar was Brock Lesnar, but Brock Lesnar, when he came back, lost to Cena in his first pay-per-view match. Then he was kind of just hanging around, not really doing some stuff, did some bullshit with Triple H that fucking sucked. But then what you got off of him ending the streak was then him fucking murdering John Cena at SummerSlam. Remember? That's what it built to. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, but we could have just done that. We could have just did that. The thing with the Undertaker one was like, for me, it was because Brock Lesnar was already there, right? Because Brock Lesnar was already Brock Lesnar. He was already a massive orangutan of a human being. It just made the Undertaker feel like he just got old. Right? It was like, he finally got God. I know, but like we should have there should have been a story instead of just like, he just got old. I didn't like that. It was weird.
Well, and fuck the streak. Fuck
Undertaker. To me, I would have told that story more where I would have drawn it out more where the Undertaker was the one chasing the streak at the end, right? Like, and that's kind of what happened there, like with Brock Lesnar. But I would have drawn that out more, right? Like a couple people where he had to damn near lose, right? To the young up and comers to prove he still had it until one finally got him, I guess, right? But yeah. I guess that's kind of what happened in some essence, I guess.
No, but I get it,
obviously, but
Yeah, no, I get it. It totally makes sense. Why? I'm not disagreeing with you. It was fine with me. All right, so my third one goes to, I think the story was told wrong. I don't necessarily hate it. I kind of liked after he did this, the chaos that ensued. But if you told the story how I would have told the story, you wouldn't have done this. And it's Macho Man joining the NWO. If you recall, it was Hulk Hogan who gave Macho Man the leg drop, right? So of the three guys in WCW, Lex Luger got put to the back, right? He was already off. Sting was on the ground, and it was Macho Man who took the fucking stake to the heart, right? And I love that Sting became the Crow and that vigilante, but I would have had the polar opposite of the crazy man trying to take down the system by just running full speed into the meat grinder
100%.
and then getting taken. You know what I mean? He should have been the other side of against the NWO. It should have been Sting, Macho Man, and those two. So I would never have had Macho Man join the NWO.
It would have fit so much with their old storylines too. Like Macho never was ever cool with Hogan. Like was always sketch. Never skeeved him out. Like,
it was always arm's length with him and Macho.
When I opened
with Hogan,
always. No, you stand in front of me, pal. You know what I mean? Like,
And now, when he did join the NWO, we did get Madness, and we got good feuds from that, right? Him and DDP was a great all-time feud, but still, I would have had Macho
but he didn't
Man
further the NWO storyline much.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. I would have had him be, I'm not saying that this is exactly what I'm wanted to see happen, but just stay with me here. The way I thought about it is, and this is, I'm coming out of left field, so just stay with me. It's just an example. But if you think about how
I'm out.
Well, if you think about how in the civil rights movement, you had one philosophy from Martin Luther King and one philosophy from Malcolm X. Do you get what I'm saying? Like they were going after the same goal, but Malcolm X was doing it with these types of tactics, and Martin Luther King was doing it with these tactics. And you could look at both of them and say they're right, but they're polar opposites. Now, again, applying those principles to pro wrestling, Macho Man would be on this side, Sting would be on this side, the Civil Rights would be fighting the NWO. Do you get what I'm saying there?
I like it. I do.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I'm not saying it's
Yes.
the same thing, but I'm saying the philosophy and framework is what I would apply to the pro wrestling.
Tell me more about the struggles of the black man.
No, I'm not gonna. No, we're not going down that.
I'm just kidding.
Yeah. No.
Jeffrey Sill says, remember Macho Man made a diss song about Hogan? And yeah, how can you ever forget Be a Man, Hogan?
Be a Man,
one of the
Hogan.
Best.
Yeah.
That's the best rap song of all time, isn't it?
I mean, it's on Spotify as number 1. Go look it up.
Best beef song, right? Like best diss track.
Yeah, it's like No Vaseline
The
from
Chain?
Ice Cube. Yeah, it's like No Vaseline from Ice Cube. It's probably Wankster by 50 Cent, and then it's Be a Man
Yep.
by Macho Man. Top 3.
By Macho Man. Yeah, exactly.
Of
Top
course.
5.
Yeah.
Top 5, according to Jeffrey Sills there in the chat. So that was the voicemail. See how fun these can be? If you give us a voicemail, tableshow@gmail.com, drop it in our email. If you're new, make sure once in a while, let us know if you're on other social medias. You might let us know, hey, by the way, dropped an email. You know, emails, you know how they are. We get 100 of them a day. Fan mail.
All the time. Fan mail all the time. We can't read it on the
presidents
podcast.
asking to borrow money.
All
that
the time.
kind of stuff. So
all the time.
So what we're here to talk about, the what's the entree here, right? The final course, AEW Dynamite was last night. Tom, you live threaded last night. Yeah, and you had a blast doing so. This Dynamite, look, I'm gonna say, I don't think a whole lot of things moved me a whole lot. I think they did some good storytelling in some segments, and the rest of the show was fine. But there's still some good stuff that I'm going to talk about. About it, right? Yeah. I don't think it was that great. Yeah.
I like this one a lot, and I'll tell you why here. So let's get into it as we go along. I'll give you my 2 cents. But last night's show kicked off with the Continental Classic Gold League, and it started off with the first matchup, Jon Moxley versus Jay Lethal. Bryan Danielson on commentary. I thought that was a key point because it kind of alluded to, hey, by the way, the finals could be Moxley versus Danielson, right? And so we get Jon Moxley versus Jay Lethal, kind of one-way traffic. It was a good technical bout. I thought Moxley showed a different side of his wrestling. It wasn't forks to the head and bleeding and, hard hitting, much like how the Briscoe match was.
No
with
light
him.
tubes.
That was there was no light tubes, but last week's match with Moxley and Briscoe was more hard hitting. Briscoe ended up bleeding. This one was, okay, well, guess what? Moxley can also put a Texas cloverleaf on your ass. You know what I mean? And so we had Moxley, Jay Lethal. Moxley picks up the win. He now has 6 points, 2-0 in the Gold League. Jay Lethal falls to 0-2. What do you think about the match? What do you think about the results?
Jay Lethal is in this league to eat a lot of these pins. More of that is in his future. He's going to get a win or 2 here, right? Like they're going to do that. They know who they're going to put in the final. So like they can play with the other matches, right? It doesn't really have to do it. I liked this. Again, it's a great opening match. Moxley, Jay Lethal, these are 2 seasoned professionals. They've worked together before. I'm presuming just where their paths might have crossed, right? But know how to work each other's style pretty well, right? Liked this. And I like this Continental Classic thing. This is across the show. These matches are sprinkled in and will be over the next course of the weeks. And that's great because we get a series of matchups that we otherwise wouldn't. And we don't have to come up with nonsense, right? Like we just have these matches that maybe not would occur, but you can put main event level folks or on the cusp in matches without their having to necessarily go into a feud each time, right? We don't necessarily need the story. We have an overarching story of a prize that they're after. So I like this a lot.
Yeah, it does give the show structure to where if you don't know what's going on and you just say to a person that's tuning in for the first time, like say it's a tournament match, they at least understand that there's stakes and the winner advances.
It feels real.
Or the winner. Yeah. Because sometimes
this is how you would do it.
Yeah, because sometimes when you'll get matches, if you're showing someone who's never seen it, they'll be like, well, why would they fight tonight? And you're like, well, so here's the long-winded version of why Chuck would wrestle, Jeff Jarrett tonight, right? Yeah. But with this, it's like standings. It's a tournament.
Yeah, like what's this guy ranked? They used to do that, right? They used to do the rankings. They just stopped doing that altogether, or do they still do that?
I think they stopped doing it. But I like that it gives it structure. So yeah, that's my 2 cents on it. After this, we get a backstage promo from Collision where Eddie Kingston talks about his upcoming match with Bryan Danielson, how he lost to Brody King, which knocked my socks off. I did not see Eddie Kingston losing the first match in this tournament.
Nope.
I also then learned that he didn't lose his titles, because that's how I thought this was going to be, is he was the champion, whoever beat him then became the champion. Not the case. It's the winner takes all. So Eddie Kingston could lose 2 or 3, somehow get into the finals and win and still keep his championships. So that was interesting.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to know. So that makes me feel like Kingston's going to at least be in the semifinals. Because what would happen if he just didn't qualify for the semifinals? Is the title vacant until the winner of the whole thing?
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, so that's some things that still need to be ironed out. But Eddie Kingston,
but the promo,
cutting a great promo here, where he talks about how he's not going to get into this self-hating cycle. He's going to overcome. He has Danielson Saturday. He's going to be focused and ready. And then we go back to commentary, which Bryan Danielson is still at. And he says, "Are you serious, Eddie? I'm at an all-time high. I broke my orbital bone. Do you know the shape I'm in? I'm beat up, but I'm coming in and I'm going to kick your ass." So it was great to see these polar opposites of like, hey, I got knocked down, but I'm going to be okay. And then I don't give a fuck if I have one eye.
Yeah.
I'm going to kick your ass.
I know. He's like, "Oh, you're going to be ready for me?" Like, oh, you think so? Like, all right.
Yeah.
Ready for this foot up your ass, son?
Yeah.
Loved
it was great.
Oh, I love it. Yeah. The alpha, like, oh no, like, you know what I mean? Like just everybody positioning like, well, of course I'm going to win this tournament, right? And everyone like, no, motherfucker, I'm about to beat your ass. Love it.
Yeah. I thought it was very cool to see the polar opposites, but still the same message of I'm going to win. You know what I mean?
So Jeffrey Sill says it's shocking kayfabe-wise to lose to Brody, but in real life situation, Brody wins that fight 9 times out of 10.
I mean, I don't know. Eddie Kingston's got some good hands. He trains at an American Top Team. He's done some kickboxing matches. He's done some kickboxing, some legit kickboxing.
Got a shiv on him, guaranteed.
Yeah.
He has a shiv on him.
Yeah, I mean, I'd fuck him up, but I don't know about Brody King. Kidding.
But he's got something.
He's got he can fight.
Guaranteed.
Yeah. All right, so then we go backstage, and Tony Schiavone's there, and he says, "Guess who we're gonna bring up? We're gonna bring up 2 old pals of mine. It's Sting and Ric Flair." And we talk about how in the Greensboro Coliseum, Sting, who had his first title match against Ric Flair, is going to end his career in that same stadium, I guess, or venue, at the next pay-per-view that we got coming up after World's End, obviously. And so be on the lookout. I thought, look, these are 3 well-seasoned veterans in the pro wrestling world. I think what I like the most about this is we're getting the ball rolling on the end of Sting's career. It's fitting, and I think it's justified to do it this far in advance. It would feel a disservice if we did 3 weeks and then his last match, bye Sting, right? Doing this months in advance to get us ready for that moment. I'm going to ball, Tim. Tim, we're going to have to watch this together. I am going to fucking cry a river on your shoulder. I am going to lose it.
All right, I'll be there emotionally for you, though.
Yeah.
It's time to pull in your friend card, right? Like, listen. Listen. Yeah, listen, there's death of a loved one and Sting retiring, man. I'm only calling you twice, man.
Yeah, only twice. This is one of them.
Yeah. I feel weirded out by Ric Flair being here for this. I know, like, it's probably leading to something storyline-wise for it, right? But I really don't think it needed it, and maybe it's Sting wants it, right? But, like, and man, after Ric Flair kept talking for a while, I was like, this guy's still talking? Like, what is this guy doing here? It's like, it was like, this is not about you, man. I don't know.
I will give Ric Flair a little credit in the sense that he said, hey, I didn't make Sting. Sting made himself. He's the guy that, beat me. And then we went backstage and it was the locker room who put him over, not me. Right. So he did give Sting the credit he deserved. I like that. I do agree with you though. It was long-winded, and the pro wrestling trope is kind of like a gun in a stage production. The gun has to go off. If Ric Flair is standing next to you, the dirtiest player in the game, then he's going to fuck you over somehow, right? So like
your biggest rival of your career.
Yeah, something has to happen there. That's the thing that I'm waiting on. But I don't know. Who knows?
Or is this is this also a thing where Ric Flair is also saying like this is the last thing, right? Oh no, they signed him to a multi-year contract, didn't they? But it could just be like a legend, like go around signing autographs. But like this is it. We're both, you know what I mean? Like we both ride out, never to be seen again. Ric Flair will never go away. He will die in the ring or under a woman, as he said. That'll be how he goes. Yeah, I don't know. I'm like, fine. We'll get there. There's more to tell, and that's how I'm leaving it for now.
Yeah, I'm just being positive and patient, if you guys remember that phrase back in the day, about how we're giving Sting the proper buildup to the end of his career. Because as we mentioned, pro wrestling, MMA retirements are kind of done with a wink and a pinch of salt. I believe truly that this is going to be Sting's last match. I do not think he's ever going to come back and wrestle again.
If a pro wrestler tells you they're retiring, check to make sure you still have your wallet.
Except for Sting. That's what I'm saying. Except for Sting.
Except for Sting.
Because to his credit, when he retired in WWE, he said, expect the unexpected. He did say that. He said, hey, maybe not, right? This one, though, he is saying final, finite, dunzo. So that's why I believe. All right, let's keep it moving here.
Until he gets a $5 million check offered him to go over to Saudi Arabia and take on The Undertaker.
He's not Shawn Michaels, god dang it, okay? God, grow up.
$5 million might turn you into Shawn Michaels.
Hey, I'll read the Bible with Shawn Michaels if he wants to. I don't care.
Justin Floor, who, by the way, gave us an awesome thread the table, use threads, says, what if Flair interferes with Sting's match and then we get Sting versus Flair?
No.
Look, Tom is having a panic attack right now.
No. I'm even like against the idea that, it was reported that we were going to get a CM Punk Stone Cold Steve Austin. That also does not have me excited because those guys in the state of their career, CM Punk being the most unathletic pro wrestler I've ever seen, that's going to be a shit show. So just imagine that at 270-year-olds. I don't want to see that at all. No.
So CM Punk can't do his own finishing move, and Steve Austin has to rely on the person to do his finishing move correctly for him, honestly, if we're being honest about that. And I don't have faith that he'll do that. So, yeah.
No, don't want to see that. And I definitely don't want to see Sting and Flair.
Jeffrey Sill says, don't wish that harm on me, Ricky Bobby.
Yeah. Justin, go wash your hands of that shit.
You're in timeout. You're in timeout.
You gotta say 5.
No chat for the next 3 minutes.
Yeah. You gotta say 5 table show.
This is your 3-minute warning. Your 3-minute
Oh man, that was cool. All right, let's get back on track here. Let's get back into the ring. Right. We get another Continental Classic match. This time it is a hard-hitting affair between Mark Briscoe and Rush. Man, they smack the fuck out of each other here. Back and forth. Rush picks up the victory. He is now having 3 points in the tournament because he suffered a first-round loss. And Mark Briscoe still with the goose egg, 0-2 in the tournament. What say you about this match and the results, Tim?
Match was good. You're right, man. Rush, that's meat, right? There's meat up in there with Rush, man. He goes hard. Again, Continental Classic, rolling along. I like this. Again, I had no other reason to be, if you just paired this match and was like, we're having this match tonight, we would have been like, why? And it wouldn't have mattered, right? So here, again, this is easy money, and you can do this semi-often and regularly, so I love this. And again, not much to say, though, in that regard is from an analytics standpoint, right? Like, there's not much to break down necessarily, right? But, yeah, I think more of the story that we'll be able to break down will come in the later weeks. The, nearing nearing the end of this round robin, right? Who's gonna be like fighting for that positioning? That's when it's gonna get real good.
Yeah, we're getting the ball rolling and kind of structuring who will tell what story. And yeah, it should be interesting what story Mark Briscoe tells. Also be interesting what story Roosh tells, because like you said, he's got some lean meat going on, and those chops
and
are a motherfucker.
Eat that gum off of the mat.
That was so great. Mark Briscoe deserves the fucking, like, if there's a game ball for episodes, he deserves the game ball for having the gum fall out of his missing front teeth and then grabbing him like, I still want to chew this.
I tried so hard to get our photo here to be Mark Briscoe's making a face in the camera, but he never stood still long enough that it wasn't blurry. He's just so fun.
Yeah, he's great. He's awesome. I'm excited to see as his character develops, because obviously the Briscoes are an all-time tag team, and no one should ever forget about that. However, I am excited to see what stories Mark Briscoe on his own can tell in AEW / Ring of Honor. So excited about that.
Because now he's an even more unique character, as it were, right? Like he was unique from his brother in some ways, but they were very alike in many ways. And so they were a tandem. They were always a tag team. So it will be interesting to see the standalone Mark Briscoe who has no peer.
Right. Exactly. All right. Now we go backstage and we get black and white. We go back in time because we have timeless Toni Storm, and she is resting her title on her forehead. And she says, "It is far too loud here." And she asks, how does it feel? Not well. She brings up JFK for some reason. I don't know. And she says she's dehydrated. And then RJ City says, I think you have a title defense next week. Are you worried? No, I'm not worried. And then she requests her shoes to be removed, and RJ City removes her shoes. And that's what we get.
Yeah. It's so good. I love everything Toni Storm's doing right now. And even with this, where like, this didn't necessarily move the storyline on, but we get that later. Yes,
we do. And we get RJ City, and any segment with RJ City, I think, is a good segment.
He's good. He's real good.
And then we go into the ring, and we get two of the better promo segments of the night, maybe of the
gout.
year.
I forgot. She did say she had a bit of the gout. That's right. Yeah. Jeffrey Sills in the chat with that. Yeah.
Great segment. All right, so then we get MJF. MJF, he comes out. He's with the cane, and he brings up World's End. And in a roundabout way, I don't want to get too long-winded here, but he says, essentially, if it wasn't for Samoa Joe and the type of person he is and the type of wrestler he was, there may never be an AEW and there may never be an MJF, because he broke the mold of what the pro wrestler can do and what the pro wrestler can look like. Awesome. Then he switches gears and he says, but if you motherfuckers think that I'm losing to that guy, you're fucking wrong, because I'm also paving my own way to fucking get this shit going. Then he breaks the cane and he's like, I'm the fucking man, right? And he does all that stuff. And then the lights go out. And then here comes four masked men, and they take down MJF. One of them has a baseball bat. Right as he rears back, Samoa Joe comes out, takes his feet from him, chases him off. Now, I want to pause right here. First, before we go into the devil and all of that, what do you think of the kind of roundabout compliment that MJF is giving to Samoa Joe? And what did you think about the first half of this promo?
Yes, I like that. Very easy way to, continue this MJF as a face. I feel like it's kind of something he's told before about the greatness of his opponent, right? Like with Adam Cole. So like, he's good at that. But what he said about Samoa Joe is in every way true as well. The Samoa Joe proved you don't need to be an athletic bodybuilder to survive in this business had been proven before by many other folks. But like, I get it. We're telling a story here. Jeffrey Sill says, I was watching Samoa Joe matches in TNA. He was athletic as fuck. He was. I agree. I like that. But that did, in hindsight, feel like, okay, that was just more to tell us, or more to set us up for where we're heading now with this devil thing, right? With these devils, demons, goons, whatever we're gonna call them, attack.
Right.
They got pictures of the devil on their back now, and the lights are flickering.
Yeah, so the lights flicker, the four of them come out, Samoa Joe makes the save, grabs the bat, chases them off. I will say this. Now, it hasn't been established that there are 4 goons and the devil, right?
Right.
There could just
Nobody
be
said that yet.
Right. There could just be a mass amount of goons that the devil has at his, at his.
Yeah, he only
beck
brings
and
a
call,
couple
right?
at a time. Mhm.
Right. So I think we need to maybe establish, what is this? Is this a group, or is this just one man and he can call on goons for the rest of his time as being the devil, right? One thing that I would say that didn't work in the devil's favor here is, man, Samoa Joe just grabbed one of their feet, pulled them out, and they just run. Nothing else happened.
Powdered out like, holy
They
shit.
just woo. Like,
So, is that because this was a predetermined spot? Even in the kayfabe world, they knew Samoa Joe's going to pull the leg, powder out.
ooh. Well, I've got a theory, but I'll put a pin in it and we'll get to it really quick. But yes, maybe, possibly. I never considered that. I thought instantly, I was like, man, they look like bitches. They just ran off. They didn't even throw a punch at anyone.
Yep.
MJF didn't even get a punch in on anyone. That was the other thing.
Yep. Nope.
So, with all that being said, then we get a message up on the big screen where he says, something about in the shadows or something, blah, blah, blah. Will you take on 2 of the masked men next week?
Yeah.
And will you be a hero, MJF? And MJF says, you motherfuckers, yeah, I will. And Samoa Joe's like, stop, man. Like, listen, like, slow down.
Bitch. Yeah.
And MJF's like, nope, we're going to do it. Joe's like, God damn it. All right, fine. Because I got to protect your dumbass. And so next week, I guess, we're going to be getting 2 masked men, potentially. I don't know, maybe not masked.
So
Taking on Samoa
maybe
Joe
they'll be
and
masked.
MJF. Maybe they won't.
I think the will you be a hero thing is interesting. This makes me feel like they're going to be having a tag team match against these masked guys. We're going to hit the screen, and somebody, presumably Adam Cole, is in peril. And MJF has to be a hero to save him. Now leaving Samoa Joe to defend himself. And now we've got even worse things going on.
I like that, Tim.
Mhm.
I like that. That's a
Mhm.
good
Yep.
thought.
That's where I think we're going, but I don't know. We'll see.
We will see. It's interesting. So here's where I came into. I'll take the pen out now and we'll move on to the next segment. And I maybe had a bad observation, because maybe he's just an unkempt bitch. But next up, we get AR Fox versus Wardlow. And it sure looked like Wardlow just took off a mask.
His hair was all,
So what I'm saying is, was he one of the 4 guys that was attacking MJF, right? Was he the guy with the bat that Samoa Joe grabbed and then said, oh, fuck, I'm caught. I better get out of here. Got a match next. Let's take off this fucking devil mask and go beat the fuck out of AR Fox. What do you think about that?
Jeffrey says there will be at least one reveal next week. And he says, that's good writing, Tim with the pencil. Thanks.
Yes.
Hire us. Hire Tim and Tom, Tony. I know you're watching. Tony. I know you're watching. Anyway, yes. Could it be Wardlow? So here's the situation, right? So we've got that tag team match, like I'm saying. There's 2 masked individuals. Mm-hmm. We get the Adam Cole's in peril. MJF's about to run off. Samoa Joe's like, you son of a bitch. Don't you fucking do it, right? And he runs off anyway, and Samoa Joe's like, fuck. And he's fighting off whatever. And Samoa Joe's a badass. He can handle himself. He manages to get the better of these 2 guys. He rips one of their masks off. It's fucking Wardlow, or it's whomever, right? While the other one escapes. And then Wardlow escapes too, and now we know who one of these motherfuckers is, right? And now all of a sudden it's, what the fuck, right? So maybe it's not Wardlow, because there's a lot of, I would save that one for a later reveal maybe, but but now now we're chasing after this one guy, right? And we can't find him quite. Like, what the fuck? What are you doing? And then maybe that guy's like, I don't know, man. It was just a man in a mask. He told me he was going to hurt my family or something, right? And they're like, how do I fucking trust you, right? Like, you can do all kinds of shit here, right? This is what I love about, this is what I said This is what I said when pro wrestling lost its way, when everything was fucking People's Champion versus authority figure, right? Like
right.
all this strange bedfellows, who did what, like Clue. Think fucking Clue, right? Like the fucking lead pipe in the conservatory, fucking Professor Plum, god damn it. Right? They're like, you thought that. Professor Plum's dead. Now what's your story, right? Like, fuck.
Yeah.
Right?
Next week will be interesting because again, we're presuming that these two masked men will be taking on Samoa Joe and MJF. And to your point, will you be a hero is interesting because you could play that another way too. You could say Samoa Joe is in peril during this match. Do you save him?
Will you be a hero?
Because you could say,
because it has to come to play. Because
Right.
what would be the point of saying that for just saying like fight us in a tag team match? Like that's not heroic. So what? Like,
Well, and another thing, I didn't write it down, but I do remember something to the effect of something about the shadows, right? Like some things will be put into the light about MJF. This is again where his past could be coming to bite him in the ass, where I always did X, but now I can't because everyone knows I have the diamond ring or whatever it may be. You know what I mean?
This just entered my mind, and it's an intrusive thought. So it's not what I think is actually going to happen, but it would be hilarious.
Okay.
The devil is Sting, and he's after his final match to win the AEW world title and rip it away from MJF.
That's
That
not a
would be
bad
great shit.
idea. That's not a bad idea.
But
in
he
the
won't
sense
do
of that.
He's
No,
not
it
going to
wouldn't-
go out as the heel. Yeah.
No, but it would be hey, I want to go out on top. You're the top guy. We've kind of always had beef, so I'm going to get you now. You know?
And it would be the person nobody expects. If we get that like mask reveal and it's still a painted face and it's Sting, we'll be like, what the fuck?
The fuck is
It could
that?
even be the Sting mask reveal to the Sting mask.
Yes. So I want to do something fun here, potentially fun. Maybe it's just going to be a turd in a punch bowl. But I want to ask each week until we get the reveal, who do you think the devil is this week? So Tim, it is, what is it? The 30th of November, 2023, 8:32 in the One True Time Zone. Tim, who is the devil?
God damn it. So I still think, right now I think Adam Cole. I think we could even do what I'm doing. The like, will you be a hero? Adam Cole's in peril, and Adam Cole's the devil, right? Like using himself as bait. So right now I'm gonna say Adam Cole, just because they haven't given me enough to steer me towards somebody else at the moment, right? Samoa Joe would be the number 2 candidate, I think. Yeah, man, this is a fun storyline. This is quickly becoming really intriguing. Yeah.
Yes. I am going with Jack Perry. Still thinking it's Jack Perry for 2 reasons. One, I think there were breadcrumbs that were planted, potentially, in my mind, with Jack Perry going to the dark side, being pushed by MJF when we did the 4 pillars buildup. And then 2, my reasoning, and this is non-storyline, this is breaking kayfabe, I do not think you can have Jack Perry just walk out next week and say it's Jack Perry versus
True.
Dante Martin, and everyone's gonna do
Yeah.
CM Punk chants and all this bullshit. So you got to do something with them, and I think
Take that
that's
away from
where
him.
you take that away from them.
Jeffrey Sills in the chat here brings up a name that we're instantly probably going to say no to, but I want to discuss a little further. And he says Britt Baker. She's been throwing a lot of shade at MJF for a long time, especially on Twitter. And she has been. Now, there's a way. I feel like we've heard from the Tony Khan WB that there won't be intergender matches in AEW. Now, I don't know if that is a thing or if that's still a thing. I don't think it is. I don't think they'll be doing that. But you could still have her be the devil and have Adam Cole be doing her fighting for her in this regard. Because now Adam Cole's torn. Bro, like, you know what I mean? Like, and then there's that little bit of like sympathy even on the dark side for the hero. So we could play with a lot there. I won't discredit Baker being a possibility right now. That mask thing kind of fits some of the vibe of her being like, I'm in fucking control, right? Like, I run this motherfucker. So, you know, I wouldn't be too, like, if that happens, kudos to them for going with it. I wouldn't be too shocked.
I would be shocked, but I wouldn't be mad.
Yeah.
I would be pleasantly surprised if that was the case. Yeah, that would be an interesting move. It would definitely throw a lot of things in chaos, which would be fun. So,
can we talk about one that somebody brought up on Threads, and I don't want it to be, but because I have heard rumors that he's possibly coming to AEW at some point.
Okay.
And now that things are getting glitchy and people are affecting the production of the show, seemingly can tap into it. It better not be fucking Sami Callihan. So help me God. Look, I know some people really love this guy and they're really ride or die, especially if you're from the Ohio region, I guess. But like, man, and that's not even, I know you had said to me offline, you were like, that was kind of what he did in WWE, so that would be weird having him do that here. But even in TNA, wasn't he like, I saw him like appearing out of nowhere and shit, right? Like, did he have teleportation powers?
Yeah,
yeah. I don't fucking, so like, fuck me, man. I don't like that guy at all. I'm just going to be real honest. I'm no interest in it being him.
The thing that I think, if Sami Callihan does come to AEW, which definitely could be the case because breaking kayfabe, him and Jon Moxley are very good friends. I believe Sami Callihan would come in with some chaos that affects the Blackpool Combat Club. I could see a fracture between Jon Moxley and Bryan Danielson, and then the group kind of picks a side. Jon Moxley may feel outnumbered because let's say Yuta and Claudio go with Danielson. So then he grabs his ride or die guy since day one and brings in Sami Callihan, and you do that. Because like I mentioned to you, it would be weird if Sami Callihan was like, hey, remember the failed gimmick in NXT where I like tried to take over? I'm going to do it again. Like, nah, motherfucker.
It would be weird to reveal the devil and then have to tell us who he is. So
right.
I would hope they have the foresight to not do that. Right? Like, don't do that to us. That would suck. That would suck a lot.
All right, let's get back in the ring here and got the hometown pop. Great to see it. We get the Hardy Boys and Brother Zay taking on Top Flight and Action Andretti. And this is your classic 6-man AEW tag match. I will say, this was probably the best the Hardys have looked in quite some time. There was some good moments where they showed some good energy, and it looked like maybe they did their calisthenics before the match because they were able to bend those knees, and it didn't look that out of place. Here's the other thing I'll say about the Hardys, though.
They had a nice lunch, not too late, right? They were
right, but
fiber content.
Man, look, they're the Hardys, and they're going to be one of the best tag teams of all time. Their spot is not going to be tainted by losing matches. However, man, the only thing I've been seeing them do is lose matches. You know what I mean? Like, there's no story. They lose to the Young Bucks. They lose to Top Flight. They lose. Like, what are we doing? I don't know. It seems weird, right?
Well, and we're going to talk later about Adam Copeland and Christian Cage, but if they ever get past what they're doing now and have a final run, the Hardys will lose to them too. So like, what are we doing with the Hardys? Yeah, man, I just look, okay, so who, Dante Martin is Top Flight? Right? Top Flight? So Top Flight number 1 is back. And okay, that's cool, right? Fine.
And it's their hometown.
Now he's over there with Private Party number 2 or whatever, right? Like, yeah, it's just like, yeah, and it's fine. Like, all that was fine. And like you said, I guess, you know, they say there's something for everybody at these shows, right? Who the fuck is this for, man?
Well, this was for the hometown crowd, right? Like, they did get a big pop. This was one of the louder pops of the night. This was a louder pop than Roosh or Mark Briscoe. Credit to those guys, but it was. So it was that. It was the, hey, these boys are good. They're one of us. So isn't it great to see them back? Now, after the match, Top Flight and Action Andretti win the match. They do a backstage interview, and Penta walks up, and he goes, 1, 2, 3. And then he looks back, and here comes Ray Phoenix and Vikingo, and he goes 1, 2, 3, and then 0, Miedo. And it looks like we're going to get a 6-man tag of Lucha Libre fun with those 6 individuals, and that's who it's for, right?
All
It's
the flips and shit.
right.
All of the flips and shit.
Now, here's another thing, though, that I want to bring up. Quick side quest, then we'll get back on track. I do not know the longevity of Penta's career. I don't know how long he's been doing this. I know he's been back in the Lucha Underground days. I know he goes down to AAA and has the bloodiest Lucha Libre matches I've ever seen. Obviously, all of his work in AEW with the Young Bucks and all of that. My side quest, real quick, is that can we get a singles push for Penta? I want to see
so charismatic.
Penta get a tight. Here's the thing.
Yeah. Ray Phoenix had the international championship. We can't get Penta to get that thing?
Right, exactly. And so we'll get to the main event when we get to the main event. But there's been an online
TNT title?
You know what I'm saying? But there's been an online push that I support 1,000,000% to see Swerve Strickland be the one to dethrone MJF. I do not hate that idea. I am for diversity. I want Swerve Strickland in the main event picture. With that being said, though, I also want Penta. Man, this is a day one motherfucker. He was at All In. Remember, he took on Kenny Omega at All In, and then Jericho beat up Kenny Omega post-match. Like, this is a day one guy who deserves some fucking recognition from all the work he's been putting in.
So MJF is having to cut promos when Alex Abrahantes is trying to speak back for Penta, and MJF's just like, God damn it, right? Like, that could be so fun. That could be good stuff, right? Hey, don't discount. Penta could be the devil. He could Penta Oscuro, right? Like, he could be probably not going that route.
No.
Before we let me circle back just a tad bit. Jeffrey Sills brought up a name that I already said we shouldn't reveal the devil and have to explain who they are. However, Mustafa Ali, again, same problem. We'd have to explain who he is.
Well, I'm just going to say this. This is me. I'm just talking. This is T-Mac Tom's opinion. And I'm not trying to be mean, and I'm not trying to take jobs away from people. None of that stuff. But I don't think we need anyone else on the roster. I think we've got a very, very good roster. I think the issue, this is me speaking for myself, is that I have a fatigue of white guys. I'm tired of seeing white guy versus white guy for the title. Now, I understand at the next pay-per-view, Samoa Joe will be in the main event picture. So there is some diversity. I'm not trying to discredit the Samoan population at all.
Diversity doesn't only mean black, right? Like, we understand that as well. Right, yes, right.
Yeah. But
right.
Don't you think the company would be more interesting if on the posters for the next card, it's not Adam Cole, Hangman Page, Kenny Omega, Young Buck. Like, those are all the same fucking guy. You know what I mean? Let me see Penta. Let me see Swerve. Let me see Keith Lee. Let me see some mixture.
Look, I'm already fed up and tired with white guys in my regular life. I don't know, especially my wrestling. I mean? God damn it. Like, I understand.
Jericho,
like, I don't know fucking enough of these guys. What the fucking hero? Jesus
so
Christ.
I think adding a little juice to AEW isn't just adding the newest free agent. It's adding diversity at the top of the card, where again, Keith Lee, Penta, Swerve Strickland. Hell, you could even get oh gosh dang it, I can't.
Jeffrey Seal says Penta should be in this tournament. Why isn't he in the tournament?
Well, yeah, Penta should definitely be in this tournament as well. Yeah, that's another thing. Jay Lethal, not to say Jay Lethal should be main event, but I'm just saying
super kicking faces
like
off.
But like, I think you add juice by adding diversity. That's all I'm going to say. Now, let's get back on track.
100%.
We get a match. Here's some diversity for the TBS Championship. It is a House of Black.
Wait, was this right before the main event?
It was. It was. You know
It
what
was,
Come
wasn't
on.
it?
Yeah.
So
But-
it was right before the main event. So you know what that means.
Well, no, not technically, because we get a promo.
okay,
We get a
all right.
promo. So we can't actually do that. Okay. But we get for the TBS championship
Warming up
match,
for vocal cords. All right.
we get a house rules match. And Emi Sakurai, I thought, picked a cool rule here. She said no submissions. Because if you've been paying attention to Julia Hart's matches as of late, she's been winning with that like Pac double arm pullback
I'm gonna say
bullshit
this.
thing. Okay.
I hadn't been paying attention
Well, you should.
to Julia Hart matches lately.
Well, that's your problem.
My bad. But they also didn't go out of their way to make sure I understood that, right? I had to kind of infer that. I was like, she's been doing submissions, right? I was like, is that the deal? Because why would Emi Sakura say that, right?
Yes. Well, here's the thing that I thought was interesting about this match is so the house rules match, right? The way it was introduced was when the House of Black were the trios champions, right? So here's the cool thing. Consider this. They can now she's doing this with the TBS championship. Imagine if Malachi Black now is your heavyweight champion and he's doing so like I think it's really cool that they're applying. No, what I'm saying is I think it's cool that they're applying their House of Black to any championship. It's not just for the trios champion.
Yeah.
It's TBS. It could be for the TNT. It could be for the World Heavyweight Championship, tag team.
And
champion,
at least with
whatever.
Malachi Black, his last name would be Black. No, all right. I do like that idea of the.
Yeah.
I do like what you're getting at with the house rules match can apply to any title that they have, and that's spot on, and that's great, right? What I will say is, can we reserve that somehow when the House of Black ends in some manner for something else, some way, right? That would take a little bit of creative writing, but we can find a way because I like that idea of challenger gets to pick a stipulation because I'm that much fucking better than you, right? Like,
well,
you know?
Yeah, but also the other end is that they, Julia Hart in this example,
well, there's also
get to have their thing. Yeah,
there's like 20 seconds count outs, right? What's the other thing? There's
I can't remember. There's some other things.
Yep, nailed it.
But they get their stipulation.
Jeffrey Seal says, I love Emi Sakura. She slapped the eyelashes off of Julia. Emi Sakura is really good in that you plug her in, you're like, okay, I know what I'm getting here, right? Like she's gonna be fine, like in a match. She's not gonna do the thing. She can do all the moves, but we're not like if you're watching from afar, what the fuck is she? Like what is she? God damn it. She's fine. I like when I watch her, I'm like, okay, she's fine. She's fun. Like she looks like a fun personality, but like, why is she in AEW? What is her goal? What the fuck is the deal? I don't know what the deal is. I did like that after she lost, they're bringing the title into Julia Hart, and she's like trying to still reach for it. Like, and she's like woozy. That was fun. I like that.
I think Emi Sakurai has potential that isn't being tapped into because the story that I understand Emi to be,
I think she's the natty role. I think backstage she's the trainer, right?
That's what I'm saying. But when she comes out, she has this crown. She's doing "We Will Rock You." Like the character and what you're telling me aren't the same thing. That's
more
the
Serena
missing link.
Deeb.
Yeah, exactly. If you're gonna be the teacher, I need a different mentality. I need that, like you said, like Jeffrey Seal says, slapping the fucking eyelashes off these women and getting them in line.
She did something like that. So like Julia Hart goes to hit her and she like ducks under or does like a cartwheel or something and is like, aha, fuck you, right? Like I forget what it was to start the match. Like more of that if you're the teacher, then be like, I'm one step ahead of you, you fucking noob. Dork.
Well, and you could also, and again, I understand TV time is limited for all, but you could do some backstage things where you have a match with someone because you were too difficult in training, or someone was being an asshole in class, and so now you got to teach them a lesson on Rampage or something like that. You know what I mean?
The one issue with that is that for me to believe in some of the idea of a trainer that I know in combat sports, like UFC doesn't have a trainer that all the fighters go to. You know what I mean? They got their own. You know what I mean? So have her in a managerial role, but she's a trainer, right? Like
Mhm.
she's a trainer, and she's the hard nosed fucking Mickey type to Rocky, right?
Yeah, something like that. But the "we will rock you" stuff, get at that shit out.
Neat
But
for
anyhow,
again. If you told me, hey, come to this pro wrestling event you knew nothing about, and let's like just walk right in, Emi Sakura coming out as Freddie Mercury or as Queen or whatever, like that's cool for that moment alone.
yeah, exactly. But okay. So anyhow, Julia Hart wins. She gets her backflip that she missed, but Emmy covered for her.
Oh yeah.
And Julia Hart wins.
You notice how,
I do look. Go ahead.
Notice how even Excalibur tried to cover for that too. He's like, oh, she tried to like roll out of the way. It's like, nah, brother, she saw she was about to fuck this up.
Yeah. Yes. But I will say I do like the Julia Hart singing her own music, doing the house rules, the presentation, the stoic. I like it. This is the best the TBS championship has been since like the first couple weeks with Jade Cargill.
What I need though, so now she's the champion, and that therein lies the thing is she's the champion, but she's the Dark Twisted. Usually the Dark Twisted has to do something sinister to a face to get us to care about the storyline. And now that she's the champion, that kind of goes out the window because what does she give a fuck? Right? Like,
well, but that's where
somebody for.
Well, but that's where the house rules, I think, comes in. That's her idea of like, well, now I get to fuck with all these top stars because I make them do my kind of match. And, so I don't know. Maybe we're grasping for straws here, but I do like it. It has more potential than,
sure we can figure
unfortunately, it has more potential than, unfortunately, Chris Statlander as champion, who I think Chris Statlander is awesome. She's so cool. What I need more of Chris Statlander, two things: more Alien. I need more booping. And I need more, I'm grabbing Renee Paquette and I'm doing squats while she tries to interview me. I need that as my Chris Statlander. That's who I need. I think that would be
doing feats
so
of strength. Doing Braun Strowman-esque feats of strength, but as a goofy alien that doesn't get it. Like he's just
exactly.
too energetic to stop, right? Like can't help herself. It's just like, I gotta lift something right now.
Exactly.
Hilarious. Yes. God, that would be the best. Please do that.
Yeah. That's what I
gotta lift this. Just hoisting stuff, throwing things. Fucking be great. She just decides to shot put random shit. Come on, that would be great.
It would be great. All right, now let's get into the other promo of the night. And this one was a masterclass. Masterclass. And also, Tim, a sore thumb, and we'll get to the sore thumb at the end. So Christian Cage walks out and he's alone, and he says, I want to invite Adam Copeland. One thing, I don't know if this was a mess up or not, but it took a while for Copeland's music and him to come out,
which was kind of real, right? I mean,
I guess
kind of real. That's more real than what we get, but we're doing a show here. We're supposed to speed this up, right? So
right, that's the part. It's like, anyhow, but so then
it does make sense that it should happen quick because Adam Copeland would probably be backstage waiting for Christian to say something stupid so he could run out there and beat his ass. So he should be right there by Gorilla or whatever they call it.
That's what I would think. Yeah. But anyhow, just a little 2 cents that I noticed. So Adam Copeland walks out.
They forgot to put the disc in. They were like, hurry up, fucking find it. God damn it, hurry up.
And Christian Cage says, hey, this security, this was from management. I didn't want this. So get them out. So they leave. And Christian says, hey, I heard that you wanted to fight me for this TNT championship. Nah, we ain't doing it. And you know why? Because I love you. Now, I was mad.
Sorry.
Well, he said, I'm sorry. And then he said, I didn't like, one thing that I thought was interesting. He goes, I didn't like when you took out Luchasaurus. I mean, Kill Switch. He slipped up on purpose, I think. It wasn't, I don't think it was like a real mess up. I thought that was an interesting part of this promo. But then he said he went on a drive and he went to reflect. And he thought about him and Adam growing up and, long-winded way, but hitting all the notes of, we were best friends. You didn't have a dad, which then everyone perked up. And he's like, I'm not going to be your dad. My dad was your dad.
Yeah, he still worked in. You'd have a dead dad.
Yeah.
You said masterclass, and you're right.
Yeah. And then he says, I love you. We're family. You said that we should do this tag team. And you know what? We should. Your mom, who passed away, said that that's what she wanted. And let's do it for her. And to his credit, Adam Copeland here is also hitting all the right nonverbal notes. He looks perplexed. At times he looks dumbfounded. Other times he looks
pissed
touched.
off that he brought up his fucking mom's name. Like,
yeah,
shit
I mean,
like
he went on the roller coaster of all different types of emotions during Christian's
Did he say his mom's name was Judy?
I don't remember. Possibly. Let's say yes.
Are we gonna get a Judy Copeland?
No, she's dead. She's dead.
Right. No, the dad was dead.
No, the dad's dead, and so is the mom.
The mom's dead too. She died recently, right?
Yes,
Or more
yeah.
recently than that. Yeah.
Yeah. So we're not going to put her on a poll.
Well, we can get the remains of Judy Copeland.
Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ.
Somebody
All
call
right,
Vince Russo.
All right. So then Christian Cage drops the microphone and he holds the title in his hand, and Adam looks away. And then he goes to Christian Cage, then goes to attack him. And Adam just goes boom and kicks him and goes, "You dumbass. Nice try." He goes, nice try, dumbass. And then he
so
goes,
spot
"Sit
on
up."
for Edge
Yeah.
and Christian. That was perfect. Yeah.
Well, then he goes, "Sit up when I'm talking to you." And Christian obeys and he grabs the title. And
Yeah.
says, "Fucker, all right, you know." And he goes, "Next week, you better bring this title, sleep with this title, because next week I'm taking it from you."
Yeah.
And then he goes, "By the way, I almost forgot. Go fuck yourself." And then this is the sore
Which, by the
thumb,
way,
Tim.
Did it air on yours like it did mine, where they missed bleeping out "go fuck yourself"?
That's what I'm saying. So then again, Tim, this is where you're fucking. This is why I don't want Mustafa Ali or Sami Callihan. I want more fucking people who know how to hit a button on a delay, because the thing they fucking muted, like jackasses,
was the crowd reaction.
was the crowd reaction. What?
It sounded like it fell flat. Yeah.
I mean, goddamn, guys.
Oops. I forgot he was going to say fuck. Fuck. He said fuck. Somebody hit the button. Fuck. Hurry up, you fucker. Hit the button.
Well, and that's the thing, because I can excuse, for example, heaven forbid,
All right.
but like
So fun.
I can excuse, heaven forbid, someone legitimately getting injured in a match and saying fuck, right? Let's say someone broke their leg or someone broke their arm.
Yeah.
And they're like, fuck, and you don't get it then. But motherfuckers, you planned this.
This was crucial to the storyline. This was the go home moment. This was like, hit it. The crowd's going to go, oh.
But we didn't hear shit. We didn't hear that part. Oh,
We heard,
God.
God damn. Yes, they need more hires behind the camera before they
Oh, my God.
ever need in front of
Yes.
the camera, and in the truck, and
Oh,
in
my
the
God.
planning meetings. In fact, we're available. Tony,
Well, fuck,
for
I'm
planning
almost
meetings.
going to put my talons towards the truck. Get those fuckers out of there. I've done a truck before.
Oh no, that's what I'm saying. Highly skilled, militantly so, in operational management and supervision of personnel. Please let me help you with this
Oh
situation.
my God. Oh my God. It was so awful.
Jesus.
It was, like I said, it was a masterclass of a fucking segment. And then the just black thumb of AEW then right at the end, just fucking shit in the bed. Good God, guys. I don't get it, man. I don't get it.
Oh,
But
supposed to
next
push it on
week-
when he said fuck?
Oh, yeah. I thought we didn't want to hear the crowd. We didn't want to hear the crowd, right? They might say fuck.
God damn it.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Ah, what dumbasses. All right.
Loved it.
Yep. I loved it. Next week we get Adam Copeland versus Christian Cage for the TNT Championship in Canada. I mean, you had checked all the boxes for a 5-star banger, as the kids say, and I am excited about it. And then we go to
The kids say
the
that?
main event. The kids all say
I love, by the way, my son is 17. Well, he's 16.
Mhm.
He'll be 17 soon. And I'll throw something randomly. I'll be like, "That's what the kids say," and he's always like, "No." He's like, "No kid has ever, ever
Say
said."
you're
the
not hanging
fuck
out with
you
the right
just
kids.
said.
Yeah, he's like, you're not hanging out with the right kids, kid.
Yeah.
I hear all the kids saying that. All right, let's get to the main event. So we get the third match in the Continental Classic, and this is two heels going up against each other. Although one is getting treated much more like a babyface. We get Swerve Strickland. Which, by the way, side quest, I have YouTube Music because with YouTube Music, you get YouTube Premium, which means no ads. And it's the fucking best thing you should do if you're going to pay for any of that shit. Top 5 songs of the year. You know what number 2 is? Big Pressure When I
Yes.
Drop. That's my second most listened to song of the year. Oh, I love it. Anyhow, let's get into it. Swerve Strickland versus the leader of the Gangbang Gang, Jay White. He is, right? Gangbang Gang. That's what they call themselves.
He is the leader of the gang. He's the gangbangiest.
The gangest of gangbangers.
Gangbangiest of all the bangers. Yeah, great match. Now, again, you're having to follow the masterclass of a promo segment. And again, the crowd knows no different of the muting, so they're still on that high of, go fuck yourself. And these guys delivered. Now, this, again, Jay White still looking strong even after a loss in a big profile match, but Swerve, obviously, just coming off of what is widely regarded as the greatest death match of all time, or Texas death match of all time on a major promotion at least. And he's just riding that high. The crowd was not going to let anything but a Swerve win happen here.
Right. And we got some good storytelling at the end. So Jay White wins his first round matchup by referee distraction, low blow, 1, 2, 3. We get the same spot here, except for Swerve is ready for it, blocks it, then through some defensive wrestling, gets the pin on Jay White. Swerve Strickland picks up the victory. He is now at 6 points. Jay White is still at 3 points. But my question to you is, as you'd mentioned, off of the pay-per-view, Swerve Strickland wins the Texas Death Match. Then last week, he wins his first round matchup in the Continental Classic. Now he wins his second round matchup against Jay White in the Continental Classic. My question to you is, what's my guy Hangman doing? You think he sticks his nose in this somehow and says, "Oh, the thing you wanted the most," and jumps him backstage? Or what's the cowboy doing?
Well, you know what they keep saying about the Continental Classic is everybody is banned from ringside. But that is to resolve your buddies from helping you. What about one of your enemies from harming you? Nobody's stopping them, right? So that could come into play, and seemingly Hangman was, I got fined? Like, I don't give a fuck. I'm not in this tournament. I don't give a shit.
This guy broke into my house. I'm still pissed about it. He hung me. God damn it. I'm the Hangman. Like, fuck you.
So he could be the turd in the punch bowl to prevent Swerve from winning this thing because he's on the high that everybody wants him to win it, right? If they had other plans and they're like, then we could just continue the Hangman thing for a while.
What if we do a little double switch? What if we say Swerve keeps winning these victories, he keeps getting the loudest pops of the night, Hangman can't take it, it drives him crazy. Now backstage, he's chasing him with this fucking
Shows up
horse.
on a black horse.
And now he's the bad guy, and we do a little role reversal.
Black leather, black horse. Yep.
Black Heart.
Black Heart. Straight whiskey.
Yeah. No chaser. I don't know. It's just interesting that even though Swerve won, it would make sense that he would still show his face because as a top guy, then it's going to be interesting. So that was our episode of AEW Dynamite. Friday, we got Rampage. I think Sting and Ric Flair are going to make an appearance, and Ric Flair says a dumbass thing that they should be editing out. Just doesn't read the room. Doesn't read the room. Did you read the quote of what he said?
I did read the quote of what he said, and I mean, he doesn't read the room correctly. I think he's reading the room, and he thinks he's the stud that everybody wants to come hang out with still. And
I was
And
talking
to
to
some
my
extent,
wife.
there may be some takers, like you know
Well,
what I mean, like, but
Well, I was talking to my wife about it because I read it, and then she's like, what are you reading? And I told her the quote. My thing about that is you got to know your history, right? Because I just made up this example, so I wouldn't want him to say it either. But if Max Caster says, hey, women 18 to 28 come to my hotel, no husbands, no boyfriends. All right, you don't really have a history. It's kind of a sleazy thing to say, but maybe you're a ladies' man, right? But when you're Ric Flair and you've had multiple allegations of sexual misconduct and rape, like that's when you don't say it, my guy. And so, he just had this post of like, if you guys don't like me, I'll just leave. Tony Khan, I'm sorry if this is embarrassment. He posted that just not too long ago before we started recording. And it's like, dude, the negativity is coming from your comments.
yeah,
Like it's you that's causing it. You can't punch someone and be like, why did I get arrested for assault? I don't get it. Like you did it. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
I don't know.
you did it. Yeah.
Yeah. So we got
I don't
Rampage
know.
on Friday night, but then
Hopefully they hit the
Saturday
button
night,
on that one.
yeah, I hope so too. Yeah.
Hit the button.
But then Saturday we get Eddie Kingston, Bryan Danielson, second round Continental Classic. Although this is the first matchup for Bryan Danielson. He didn't compete last week, so we shall see what
but
happens.
does Eddie Kingston get one over here, or do we put him into deeper despair now? Oh no. Now I'm really down in despair here, and I got to come out big and swinging to get my,
So these
make
two
sure I
have
keep these
wrestled-
titles.
So these two have wrestled before. If you recall, they had
Yep.
one of the better matchups of all time. Bryan Danielson ends up winning. He chokes him out. Eddie Kingston gives him the middle finger as he goes unconscious. And then that's what started the feud with Eddie Kingston, CM Punk, because CM Punk's doing a promo. Eddie Kingston's like, what the fuck you looking at? And then we get one of the best AEW matches and feuds in recent memory. So yeah, I don't know. I would hope. Here's what I'll say. I always want Eddie Kingston to win. Eddie Kingston is the greatest wrestler to ever live. Him and Terry Funk will go down as 1A, 1B, and everyone else starts at 3. And so I want him to win every time. But the story is more interesting if he loses. From a story aspect, that's the more interesting story. So I don't know. If I'm betting money, which you shouldn't on pro wrestling, I would say Bryan Danielson wins.
Yeah, I think early because, again, we can get to Eddie Kingston still wins the whole tournament, even if he loses this one and it's down to despair and it's a better story. So I agree. I think he's going to have to eat 2 pins in a row down, 2 matches that makes the underdog push to make the semis, like Jeffrey Sill says right there in the chat. So join us in the chat when we do this show every Thursday. But you missed the boat now because we're heading out of here. So just remember, this is very important. If you're going to say fuck, hit the button.
The Spanish announce table.